What state is your nervous system in? How can you differentiate? Have you ever wondered why sometimes you can think clearly and handle problems easily, but another day one small thing happens and suddenly you're anxious, angry, overwhelmed, you want to escape, shut down, or you find yourself doing everything possible to keep other people happy. Let me show you something I often explain to my patients. Imagine your nervous system moving between different levels of activation, like here, red, blue, and black. Red represents fight, flight, or fawn. Blue, it's a regulated state of mind, and black is like freeze or shut down. These colors are simply a visual tool to help you recognize what may be happening in your body and mind. Red. Shall we go through red? Red is representing fight or flight, or this is how I choose to represent it. That's high activation. It's a high activation state. And that means that your brain detects a threat and your body prepares you to respond to the threat. Your heart may beat faster, your muscles tense, your breathing changes, your thoughts speed up, but people don't all respond to perceived threat in this exact same way. So we have different answers. Fight. You might become here, also in the red circle. You may become angry, irritable, defensive, confrontational. Yeah, so your system is essentially saying, I need to fight this. And flight here, when you are in flight mode, you might experience anxiety, panic, restlessness, avoidance, or the urge to escape. Your nervous system is saying, I need to get away from this. But there's another response I want you to recognize, and that is Fawn. I wrote it here. And that means keep them happy. Fawn is one state that not many are familiar with. Some people don't primarily fight or run away when they detect or feel threatened. Instead, they try to keep the other person or other persons happy. This is commonly called the Fawn response. Yeah, so what's that? Essentially, people pleasing, can say no, over apologizing, avoiding conflict, or ignoring own needs. Maybe someone is angry with you, and immediately you think, what can I do to make them happy again? This is Fawn. Maybe you agree with people even when you don't agree. That's a high consumption of energy, right? Maybe you say yes when you desperately would want to say no. Maybe you're constantly monitoring other people's moods because you're afraid, right? You start to think, are they okay? Is she or he okay? Is he or she angry with me? Did I do something wrong? And you may put everyone else's needs before your own. Why? Well, because somewhere along the way, you may have learned that pleasing another person helps reduce conflict or threat. And that is in relationship to primary caregivers like mother, father, and people that took care of you. So if you're okay, that means I'm taken care of. And this is what in trauma therapy we call fawning. It is important to understand that fawn is a commonly used clinical and trauma concept describing pleasing strategy, right? It isn't as clearly established as a distinct biological automatic state in the same way we discuss fight, flight, and freeze. but clinically it can still be a very useful pattern to recognize. The threat doesn't have to be physical. This is what we learned by now, right? So here, when you fight, flight, fawn, right? When you do that, it's something important. The danger doesn't have to be a tiger standing in front of you. Your nervous system can respond to psychological and emotional threats. Yeah, so, and most of the threats are psychological and emotional nowadays, like work, conflict, money situation, health, rejection, uncertainty, or relationships. Your body may respond to perceived threat before you've had time to logically think through what's happening. That's why simply telling someone just calm down isn't always working and is not always enough. Okay, we go to the black freeze and shutdown modus. Sometimes, however, we don't fight, we don't run, and we don't try to please others, right? We freeze or shut down. And freeze or shut down is a low activation mode. You may feel numb, you may feel exhausted, you may feel disconnected, you may feel heavy and unmotivated, you might start isolating, canceling plans, you want to stay longer in bed, you want to avoid people, and you want to do less and less. And sometimes people look at themselves in this state and think I'm lazy, or the other criticize them as lazy, or what's wrong with me. Instead of immediately judging yourself, become curious. Could my nervous system be overwhelmed right now? Because after prolonged stress, exhaustion and withdrawal can be signs that your nervous system is struggling to cope. And that's normal. Yes, we are not robots. So blue and regulated point, yeah, here is supposed to be a strong blue color. That is a regulated state of mind. A regulated state of mind, it's about clear thinking, you're present, connected, flexible, able to choose. Being regulated does not mean you're happy all the time. You can still experience sadness. You can still worry. You can still become angry. You can still have difficult conversations. The difference is that you have enough capacity to experience those emotions while still being able to think, connect, and choose how you respond. So you choose how to respond. Instead of automatically reacting, you have more space to respond intentionally. So here your nervous system moves, right? So from fight flight to regulated to freeze or shut down, okay? And the other way around, from shut down to connected to fight flight, freeze and fawn. Your nervous system is supposed to move, yeah? So all these states, you're not supposed to be happy all the time. Something stressful happens, right? You're in blue, you go to red. Okay, the situation passes, you regulate, and eventually from red, you go to blue. Yeah, you are connected. Or perhaps you've been dealing with stress for a long time. Eventually, you feel exhausted and disconnected. So you go from red to black, okay? And with recovery, movement, connection, safety, and appropriate support, you may move gradually back from black to blue, okay? Here's what I want you to remember, okay? Red doesn't mean I'm anxious, I'm an anxious person, or and when you think fawning doesn't necessarily mean I'm a weak person if I please others. It may be a pattern you've learned for navigating relationships, conflict, or perceived threat. When we are here in freeze and shutdown, black doesn't automatically mean I'm lazy because I don't do anything. These are states and patterns, and they can change. The goal isn't to stay regulated 24 hours a day. Nobody does, to stay in blue, right? The goal is to become better at recognizing where am I right now, and then what do I need. Try this today. When you notice something changing inside you, like a state of mind, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what is happening in me right now? What's happening with me right now? Am I in flight? I need to attack or defend myself. Am I in flight? Okay, do I need to escape? Am I phoning? I need to keep this person happy so everything will be okay. When you have that thought, you are phoning. Am I moving toward freeze or shutdown? Like I can't deal with anything anymore? Or I'm relatively exhausted, disconnected, numb. I can feel this emotion and still choose what I do next, right? That's the answer. And then ask, what does my nervous system need right now? Sometimes you need to reduce activation. Sometimes you need movement. You need to go take a run, take a walk. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes you need social connection. Sometimes you need to set a boundary. Yeah? Sometimes you need to say no. And sometimes you need professional support. And meet a psychologist, for example. Yeah? So look at this whiteboard. Mental health isn't about feeling good all the time here in regulated state. It's about becoming better at noticing your state and your patterns, understanding what may be happening, and developing skills that help you regulate and respond differently. So instead of immediately asking, what's wrong with me? Okay, get rid of that question always, forever. Try asking, what state am I in? What pattern am I using? And what do I need right now? Yes, you can go from one state to another and back, because these states can move, patterns can be changed, and regulation can be learned. Neuro mind reset, rewire, rebuild.